All right, I don't have a bell, so
you don't have recording on
like
either,
I
Mike.
rang a bell.
Mike?
I show it recording.
It's not recording.
How about that?
Yes.
There we go. All right. Ding, ding, ding. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the April 9th meeting of Rotary. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm your host and president, Mike Canada, having some technical difficulties, lost power down here in Florida. So I'm glad all of you could be here today. I would like to thank our greeters. I'd like to thank Mike Zwick for our great speakers and programs, Jim Gundel and Alex Zaharia for website and YouTube, and Beth Cusack for our book dedication. I would like to welcome all of our members who joined us today, especially those who haven't been here in a while, any guests that may be joining, and as always, a special welcome to our speaker, Terry Slaybaugh from Jobs, Ohio. Thank you so much for making time for our club. So far, our club's been averaging 37 on Zoom and 13 on YouTube. We have a jam-packed meeting today, so I'll turn it over to the Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Dave Fleming.
All right, am I on? Am I audio on?
I can hear you.
Okay. So Baylor ends Gonzaga's 31-game undefeated winning streak. Prince Philip of England has died at age 99, concluding a role as England's longest-serving royal consort. There was another shooting, this time at a Texas cabinet factory, just hours after Governor Greg Abbott of Texas criticized President Biden's actions aimed at gun reform. COVID vaccines now available for persons 16 and older. Nationally, Republican men indicate they are the least likely to get the shots. And a trio of Russian and American space travelers have reached the International Space Station after a journey of just over 3 hours. Susan Rice, head of President Biden's Domestic Policy Council, was reported to be burning sage in her new West Wing office to cleanse it of bad energy left by the previous occupant, hardline anti-immigration Trump advisor Stephen Miller. The dating site OkCupid said there's been a 137% increase in the use of the word vaccine among those who are seeking a companion. 4 orangutans and 5 bonobos at the San Diego Zoo received doses of an experimental COVID-19 vaccine for animals. This move comes after all 8 of the zoo's gorillas contracted the disease from an infected zookeeper. I don't know what they were doing with the zookeeper, but they must have been in close proximity. Oh, unfortunately, the Boy Scouts of America began selling off its collection of original Norman Rockwell paintings in order to raise $300 million to settle thousands of sex abuse lawsuits. And it was a bad week for bipartisanship after Representative Lance Gooden of Texas broke with his party to vote for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act, which bans chokeholds, among other reforms. The staunch conservative later explained that, quote, I accidentally pressed the wrong voting button and realized it too late. I don't suppose Rick ever did that, or Brian ever plans to do that. Okay.
Oh, so close. So close.
Just one. So that's a $5 fine for that.
I'm all over that. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. You just had to.
If Brian hasn't done that yet, he will.
What you wanted to do. I'll leave it out here.
A motorist who crashed after swerving to avoid a couch dropped by a truck on a Florida highway has been ticketed for, quote, failing to drive in a single lane. A police spokesman explained that the motorist should have left enough space behind the truck to avoid the dropped couch. California lawmakers are considering a bill that would ban department stores from having boys and girls toy sections. Many retailers have already removed sex-based signage, gender-based signage, but the proposed bill would make it illegal to segregate dolls, toy guns, etc. President Trump's lawyers sent cease and desist letters to the Republican National Committee and other GOP fundraising arms, warning them not to use Trump's name or likeness in fundraising materials. Trump recently told attendees at CPAC that they should instead direct all pro-Trump donations to his own Save America PAC. And finally, a burglar was caught red-handed because of yellow Cheeto dust on her teeth. Police said the incident began when a mom of two responded that reported that an intruder had pried a screen off a window in her Tulsa home. Police said they found a bag of Cheetos near the window and then located Sharon Carr lurking nearby. When she opened her mouth, she allegedly had the telltale tinge of Cheetos on her chompers and was arrested. Oh dear, okay, let's see. Stephen Wright once said, I woke up one morning and all my stuff had been stolen and replaced by exact duplicates. His mind sees things differently than we do, to our amazement and amusement. Here are some of his gems. For example, he said, I'd kill for a Nobel Peace Prize. He also said, borrow money from pessimists. They don't expect it back. Half the people you know are below average. And then you can't resist. 99% of lawyers give the rest a bad name. 42.7% of all statistics are made up on the spot. A conscience is what hurts when all of your other parts feel good. And then here are a couple things from my friend Dave. Well, you don't know my friend Martin. When my wife picks a restaurant that I don't like, I just say, oh yeah, that's where that really cute girl works. And it solves the problem. Remember how stupid, no matter how stupid you feel, remember Little Red Riding Hood couldn't figure out a talking wolf in drag wasn't her grandmother. Let's see. Sorry, I haven't gotten anything done today. I've been in the produce department trying to open a stupid plastic bag. Please help. I'm having trouble with my car. I'm having a problem. I think the transmission is messed up. My car works fine during the daytime, but it won't drive at night at all. I put it in D for daytime and I can go anywhere I want to. But at nighttime, when I put it in N for night, it won't move. To top it all off, the other day I was sitting at a red light and this guy next to me wanted to race. The light turned green. I slammed it into R for race, stomped on the gas and slammed into the car behind me. Any help with this situation would be greatly appreciated. And let's appreciate some Rotarians. For example, yesterday was Fran O'Shaughnessy's birthday. And today, Ed O'Shaughnessy is celebrating 22 years in the Beaver Creek Rotary Club. Congratulations to Ed. I do think that's worth a little bit of a fine, maybe $2.32. And Pete Landrum, just a heads up for you. A reminder that your wedding anniversary is this coming week, and you can thank me later for reminding you. And here are some fines. If you burn sage in your home or your office, that's $1 fine. If you have been on a dating website in the last 6 months, that's $1 fine. If you own a Norman Rockwell painting, that's a $5 fine because that means you're probably rich. And if you have ever accidentally, oh, I'm so sorry. I wrote this in here, but before I saw you, Rick, if you've ever accidentally voted the wrong way, that's $1 fine.
You're so predictable.
I know, so predictable, so predictable. I'm going to start coming to county commissioner meetings, and
I love it. I love it.
Would you like that? Would you like
Dick,
that?
you want them there too, don't you?
Yeah, right. So I'll turn the sergeant's report over to the president for the collection of Happy Bucks.
All right, thanks, Dave. Before we get to Happy Bucks, we have a special treat this week. We have the O'Shaughnessy's who will be doing our show and tell, so I'll turn it over to them. And if you need me to turn on screen share, I can try to figure that out.
Yes, please.
There you go. You should have it. There you go.
All right, let me see if I can get this to work. Okay, is it working?
Yes, it is.
All right, wait a minute now.
You can see it.
Okay, there we go. All right, I will turn it over to Ed for first couple of slides.
Okay, this is the O'Shaughnessy family crest. The O'Shaughnessy family comes from a little town called Gort in County Clare in Western Ireland. At least that's what I've been led to believe. That's where the family seat is, although I have no idea where my family came from. I found this on a website, of course. Okay, Fran, next. Okay, this is me. It's my life history. 20 years in the Marine Corps, 20 years with Airborne, forever volunteering with the Red Cross. I like to play golf, and that's New York City, where I come from. Not downtown, but general New York area. As you can see from some of it, I do fly airplanes, or I did. Gave that up because when somebody else isn't paying for it, it's way too expensive to do. So off to you, Fran.
Okay, and this is me. So I have a barn on there because I actually grew up on a farm in Greene County, Bath Township, went to Fairborn School. So I am a Greene County gal at heart, and was happy when eventually we got to come back because, of course, 20 years in the Marine Corps, we wandered around a bit, mostly in the South. Classroom, because my first career was actually being a teacher, so I spent over 10 years teaching 7th and 8th graders English, reading, writing, how to diagram sentences. Remember the day. No, that was a fun time. Took a sabbatical, volunteered with the Red Cross, and the rest is history. Retired from the Red Cross, still volunteering with them. Also very involved with St. Vincent de Paul Society. I'm actually president right now of our conference out of St. Helen Parish. So we do lots of good work too. So I enjoy all my volunteer time. That's why volunteers always needed, forever appreciated. I love the power of volunteerism and what can be accomplished. And I am a avid reader. So that's what all those books are. So that's a little bit about me. And then back to Ed.
Okay, and this is our family. Our family started at Miami. Fran and I are a Miami merger. And as I said, love begins at Oxford. Oxford is the most educational thing about Miami, by the way, because there's an Oxford in England. On the left side is my older son, Mike, and his wife, Kyle, and they live in Japan. And this is a picture of one of the temples, and we visited that several times. There's a big shopping plaza that goes from here down this way, south and west, and you can buy all kinds of things, which we always do. And over to you, Fran.
All right. And then on the other side is our younger son, Jack, with his wife, Beth, and our two grandsons, Aldrich and Devin. And this was their Christmas picture. And then there's the two boys atop Twin Peaks in San Francisco, because that's where they live, looking out towards the bay. And so we spend, on normal times, when we're not having COVID-19 problems, a certain amount of time visiting out in San Francisco. And then the last picture is Barnaby the cat. That's with some of my office space in the family room, spending a lot of time here. And of course, Barnaby is the one who actually runs the house, and nothing much gets done unless Barnaby's happy. So that is the O'Shaughnessy family.
Thank you, O'Shaughnessy. Wonderful. As always, now you have the opportunity to nominate someone for next week if you'd like to do that now, or you can wait till the end of the meeting if you want to give it some thought.
Ed, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ed, were you going to nominate?
Yeah, I was going to nominate Mike Zwick, but he's not on the call right now. So I don't know whether the word will get to him. So
It will.
It will?
It will.
Okay,
All
we're
right.
nominating Mike Zwick then.
All right, Mike Zwick it is. Thanks again. That was fun. All right, now vote.
I'm sorry, you cut off, Mike. We didn't hear what
Anybody
you
have
said.
any happy bucks? Anybody have any happy bucks they'd like to share?
I'll toss in a happy buck. Actually, I'm real happy because I won both of the brackets that I was in for the NCAA tournament. One with the Greene County Alumni Club, and the other with, it was kind of our family bracket that we do every year for boasting rights. So I get 365 days of boasting.
Were you the only one in the brackets?
Yeah.
All right. Any other happy bucks?
I got one. I was in a car accident Monday. First time in my life I've been in an accident where the airbags deployed. It was very, intense, nerve-wracking, whatever words you want to use. That second and a half where your life flashes before your eyes. Someone pulled out in front of me as I was coming through an intersection at 40 miles an hour. I haven't heard about the fate of my truck. As of this morning, they've found almost $16,000 in damages so far. But I'm happy because I walked away from it, and so did the other guy. So it could have been a lot worse. I'm just thankful that he and I are both fine. So happy to be here.
God bless.
Thanks, Brandon.
I'll give a happy buck for
Any other happy buck?
I'll give a happy buck as far as already mentioned. Me and my wife, Terry, a happy anniversary to us. 31 years on the 14th. So,
Wow.
Very blessed.
Congratulations, Pete.
I have a happy buck. We have a visitor to our club today, Frank Farkash, who is from Kettering Health Network. I understand he's a new director there. And Kettering Health Network has a corporate membership with us, and Frank is considering becoming the newest member of that membership. So Frank, do you want to introduce yourself? Not to put you on the spot.
Not to,
Thank you, Sandy.
but you did, right? Yeah, thanks, Sandy. My name is Frank Farkash. I'm an ER nurse and ICU nurse practitioner by trade, and made the move to what I call the dark side of putting a suit on every day and working in administration a couple of years ago. So I've been here at Soin Medical Center and Greene Memorial Hospital now since 2017, and been the director of emergency services and our trauma program for the last year. So excited to join in. Thank you.
Thank you. We're glad to have you.
Frank, good to have you.
Thank you so much. This is Irving Guria. I just also want to add, very happy to have Frank on the team here. Also, he is going to attempt to eclipse Rick's amazing record in attendance.
Thank you.
Do we have any
that
other?
won't take much.
Oh, good.
I have a happy buck. I was very pleased to attend the dedication at Owens Place with Commissioner Gould, Commissioner Perales, Gussie Jones, Vice Mayor Don Adams, Deborah Wallace, Pete Bales, a nice Rotary contingent in attendance. Those of you that have been in Beaver Creek a while remember the names Wilfred and Louise Jones, and due to their generosity, they are able to go ahead and begin construction on the two ball diamonds with the turf. So these will be universally accessible ball diamonds for baseball, t-ball, kickball, whatever. Pete told me that they will begin construction in a couple of weeks, and it should be completed before the end of the year. So it was just a great honor to be there for that. And, you know, this is something that been under works and they're calling it the Field of Dreams. It's been going on for many, many years. And it's just absolutely terrific to see this get finished up.
Hey, Brian, Joanna Garcia was there also.
Awesome.
Can
you guys hear me?
I want to give a happy buck because I've celebrated my birthday yesterday and happy to be alive and well to do it, and very grateful for all the wonderful birthday greetings that I got from everybody.
All right, birthday for Ann. Any other happy bucks before we move on? Okay, I'm assuming you guys can hear me. I'm going to move on to announcements. If you can't hear me, just let me know. Please update your DAC DB so that we have your up-to-date information and correct contact information for Founders Day. If you haven't had an opportunity to do that, please go ahead and go in there and do that. Number two, if you received a phishing email asking for, this phishing email was asking from me to send gift cards, and you will be reimbursed. That is, please disregard that. That is just a phishing email. It's a scam. Thank you to the people who reached out to me and let me know about that. But if you did get one, just delete it. Save the date, 2021 Ohio Rotary District Conference, April 23rd and 24th. Registration is open for that. As we mentioned a couple of weeks in the past, we will be holding Founders Day in person this year. It's going to be May 7th. Please save the date on that. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Brian Lampton for our Chief Fiorita induction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great day when we get to introduce a new member to our club. So Jeff Fiorita, please wave and be recognized.
I'm here.
Born in Dayton, Ohio, Jeff grew up on the outskirts of Springfield, graduating from Greenon High School. Chief Fiorita graduated from Clark State with an associate's degree and earned his bachelor's in criminal justice from Park University. He started with the Beaver Creek Police Department in January of 1992. He was a patrolman and he's worked his way through the ranks, detective, sergeant, captain, deputy chief, and of course now he's our chief of police. Chief is the past president of the Greene County Law Enforcement Association and is also a member of the Ohio Association of Polygraph Examiners. So he's volunteered to give us a presentation once we are face-to-face again, and perhaps a Rotarian would volunteer to take a polygraph. But I would be very curious to see that equipment in action. He's been awarded the Knights of Columbus Officer of the Year and the Chief's Award of Merit. He lives in Enon with his wife, Carol, and he has 2 adult children and 4 grandchildren. Their ages are 8 to 3 years old. He enjoys working in the yard, and in his spare time, he and his wife are youth pastors at his church. Chief Fiorita, in case you're wondering, he doesn't look it, but that's an Italian name. So just so you know. He is sponsored by our city manager, Pete Landry. We are fortunate to have the leaders in Beaver Creek in business, finance, education, government, and healthcare, building and construction, science and the arts. People who do and can make a difference in our community and in the world. Because of these leaders, this club has the strength and the will to make a difference. We are delighted that you've chosen to join us. We know you have both the head and heart to understand and practice the principles of Rotary. You have met high standards. You possess a high degree of integrity. You're prepared to pursue the truth wherever you find it, bringing additional purpose to your life. You can appreciate the enduring values that comes from service to others. So the message of Rotary is really quite simple. It's to encourage and foster the ideal of service. Our motto is service above self. You'll need to personalize this in your own lives. You'll discover how well our club follows this motto and how we endow our community with our appeals to you for your personal focus. And we know you'll share your talents with our club in the multitude of projects our club undertakes. Now, there are a few things our club requires of its members. We expect regular meetings in our virtual world here, and then makeups. There are other clubs that have virtual meetings. Fairborn, in fact, is meeting face-to-face now. DJ Chumps in Fairborn on Wednesdays at noon. We also expect that you'll be supporting our social and fundraising activities, a prompt response to your quarterly invoice from Eric, and once again, selection of that particular area of club service that most appeals to you. Leaders are doers, not watchers. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present our newest member, Chief Jeff Fiorita.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome, Chief. Great to have you in the club. Can't wait to see what the future holds with you and our clubs. So thanks again.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
All right. Okay, so at this time, I will turn it over to Commissioner Rick Perales to introduce our speaker for today.
Very good. Thank you, President. Hey, Chief, congratulations. Welcome. You're going to be wonderful. The police chiefs from Beaver Creek have always been wonderful, and you're going to fit right in, Jeff. So thank you so much for being there for us. It's an important job, and it means a lot to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that.
I don't know that we said enough about the O'Shaughnessy's. Fran, Ed, thank you guys for throwing it out there. But these guys are like real true heroes. No kidding. The word hero goes out there too often. But every time I want to get a hold of Fran, I have to look and see if there's an incident, a tornado, or hurricane, or something, because she's going to be out there. And of course, her Marine pilot husband will support her in any way possible. We are so fortunate to have Fran and Ed O'Shaughnessy as a part of this. You guys are like the salt of the earth. You're what it's all about. You're what Rotary's about. So thank both of you. I can't tell you how much people appreciate who you are and what you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Boy Scouts. The Sergeant of Arms said something about Boy Scouts. Let me just say, Boy Scouts are going through a tough time, but if you look at the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, President, I know I'm going past my obligation, responsibility, but if you look at them, that's the leaders of tomorrow. So we have to get past this lawsuit, and we have to support, and Tecumseh Boy Scouts are amazing. So, and I'd like to hear if whoever can chat and say they're an Eagle Scout, or they have kids who are Eagles, or they have girls who are gold, please let us know, because those are tomorrow's leaders. And there's a hiccup here, sure, but we got to get past this, because this is Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts teach people what's important, kids what's important. So I'm a big fan of the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I go to all the Golden and Eagle Scout honors. So we got to keep supporting those folks. So thank you for that. So let me say this. This is real interesting. Everyone knows, I think that we're supposed to have the president, JP Nassif of Ohio, Jobs Ohio, here today. That's what I was, and I know JP is a good friend. He's a veteran. His dad was a general in the Air Force. He gets it. He's doing a great job, but we don't have him. So he gave us a pinch hitter, and the pinch hitter can't come. So that's unfortunate. That's Terry Slaybaugh. Many of you know him. He was the director of the Dayton Airport and has done a great job there. Now he's with Jobs Ohio doing a great job there. So we're going to, the analogy of baseball players is we had a pinch hitter, but then we brought in a right-handed pitcher. So now they're going to have a left-handed pitch hitter. And that pinch hitter for us today is Phil Greenberg. And Brian, do you know Phil? Have you met him yet? Okay, good. Okay. Phil's been in Columbus a long time. And I'm not going to take his thunder away, but he'll explain how Jobs Ohio is not a function of the government. And there's a reason we did that, and he'll get into that, and it's a very good reason. And Phil has been involved, and I got to know him. He was working with people like Brian and me to get us elected for a while. He was on the DeWine and Houston team, got them elected, record-breaking. The guy's been there for a long time. He is outstanding. He understands it all. He's going to talk about Jobs Ohio and what they're doing for us. And folks, I got to tell you, Jobs Ohio understands business where government doesn't quite do that. So that's why we've gone different. They're not a part of the government. And Jeff, you there? Or Phil, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Can everybody hear? Okay.
What a pleasure working with you, sir. Please take it from here.
Oh, thank you so much, Commissioner. And I value and appreciate our time that I was able to serve under you when I was working Republican caucus in the state of House of Representatives. So thank you very much. And again, I know JP wanted to be here today and he sends his regrets. Obviously, this is a community that's very near and dear to him and certainly Commissioner as a dear friend. So thank you for welcoming me. I would be remiss if I didn't start off the program by saying thank you. First off, I understand that there are many veterans that are part of the Rotary. And, you know, I watched Saving Private Ryan on Netflix last week, and I was reminded again of the sacrifice that so many of you and your family and friends have done. And I just wanted to say thank you again so much for everything that you've done as veterans and continue to do. So with that being said, I'd love to give a kind of a quick overview of Jobs Ohio. If I'm able to share the screen, I do have a deck that I could share if that's okay, guys. And I'll try.
Right, yeah, you bet.
Okay. Can everybody see that? Okay. So I'll try to go quickly. I want to be respectful for your time, but and actually real quick about me, I serve as chief of staff to JP and at Jobs Ohio. And so the best way I describe what I do day to day is I'm an inch deep and a mile wide. And so I'm you know, on the surface involved with just about everything that comes up and down through JP and through the team. And so I've had the opportunity to kind of see how things have gone the last year and a half, 2 years. Actually, yesterday was my 2-year anniversary with Jobs Ohio. And it's been obviously an incredible year, both good and bad for the state. But I'll show you guys where we have quite an opportunity to come out of COVID and a generational opportunity to lead the Midwest and even possibly the nation in many categories. So with that, I'll give a kind of a quick breakdown of, you know, who is Jobs Ohio? Our vision is to be recognized as the best place to live, work, invest, and live your American dream. Oftentimes people feel like they have a choice between whether they want to have a nice life or they want to have a nice job, where our vision is that you can have both. Our mission is plain and simple, economic development. We are the lead private economic development organization for the state of Ohio to attract and to retain businesses here for the state. And our core values, which are many things I'm sure you can relate to, is act with integrity, value people, and make a difference. So in 2011, Jobs Ohio was officially formalized by newly elected Governor Kasich. This happened as a result of what happened with the Great Recession and to the prior administration. There used to be a Department of Development that was within the state government. And in Governor Kasich's mind, and then Speaker Batchelder, and then President, I'm trying to remember, it wasn't Obhoff. I'm trying to remember his last name, the Senate president, but they all agreed that there needed to be something done to help move business deals more quickly. That with having job creation and economic development within the state, it was too bureaucratic, and we needed to shake things up. And so Jobs Ohio was created. It was taken out of the Department of Development. And in 2011, as you see here, the signing ceremony, it was for House Bill number 1 that created us as a 501c3 and a nonprofit. And what was unique about that was this was something that, because we were private in nature, that we could operate much more quickly and with resiliency. And then, and we have a 9-member board, which is appointed by the governor. We have a 10th member in that, in Mr. Speaker Batchelder, who is emeritus. JP is on that board. Scott Sullivan, who some of you might know, he is a Southwest Ohio person. And obviously General Lyles is someone that should be near and dear to many folks with Wright-Patt Air Force Base. And so then in 2013, and this was kind of the game changer, was, okay, so we have this private entity in Jobs Ohio, but we need to have the funding to be able to be aggressive and to be able to go get deals. And basically what we were able to do is we went out and we got bonding for $1.4 billion. And we were able to basically purchase the liquor enterprise for the state of Ohio. So the state of Ohio basically said, we're going to give you a 25-year lease, the liquor management, and the proceeds that come from that liquor will go toward economic development. And in return, we paid the state, who was in a major budget shortfall at the time, $1.4 billion. And so that's where, moving forward from 2013 on, we were able to get where really the juice for our economic development comes from, is from the profits that come from the liquor sales, not the taxes, which I'll go into, but it's the profits from a liquor. So when you go in and you buy a bottle of Jack Daniels or a bottle of whiskey, after everything is all said and done, the profit margins on there, which tune to hundreds of millions of dollars a year, that's what goes into what Jobs Ohio does. And then that's able to be able to use for our expenses and also for all the economic development deals.
Hey, Phil,
Yes,
Rick
sir.
here again. This group doesn't drink.
Well, I would say for those that have, especially during COVID, I would say that.
I'm just joking. This group pays their fair share into our environment, our economy.
How about this? Every time you raise a glass of Blanton's or any type of spirituous liquor, we don't do beer or wine, but anytime that you raise your glass, you are helping Ohio's economic development. That is a true fact. So I salute you for that. And so what is Jobs Ohio? What is it that we specifically focus on? We realized that we needed to have an organization that focused on the most resilient sectors. So if there was ever an economic downturn, and again, this is going back in 2011, we just didn't want to have a repeat of the Great Recession. So we identified at first these 9 very key sectors. And as you can see on the right side, how many people it employs. We just recently added, and I think this would be news to this group, a 10th sector in military and federal installations. Certainly we want to utilize great assets like Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, NASA Glenn, and there's over 93,000 people. And what we want to try to do is bring missions and projects that are related to that newest sector as well. So that's something that we're very excited about. I know, obviously, as JP is a veteran, and with having several folks that are on our board, like General Lyles, that are part of the military, that's something that we're very excited about. But really, it's these 10 key sectors that are day-to-day that we focus on at Jobs Ohio to try and attract and retain. We have 117 full-time employees. When we first started, we had about 4 back in 2011. We have 6 regional partners. So the DDC, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, they're a fantastic partner with Jeff Hoagland, who helps lead that organization. But we have 5 others. And so for a total of 6 that are our regional network, that's kind of under the umbrella of Jobs Ohio. And then we also serve 10 global markets. So we employ several consultants around the world that also help bring in international development for our state as well. And for those of you who are curious who our #1 foreign direct investment is, it's Japan, Germany, and I believe Canada would be number 3 in Germany, or in Britain, very close, number 3.
May I ask a quick clarifying question? Are like DDC and all those entities, are they part of Jobs Ohio, or are they separate entities?
Great question, Brandon. So they're separate entities, but a chunk of their funding does come from us. And so we kind of serve as a mothership, but certainly, so for example, the DDC has their own board, they have their own funding mechanisms, but we do provide financial support to them, and we act in unison as kind of almost like a United States, right? You have your own states, but there's kind of the federal government under that.
Awesome.
We serve as kind of the unifying entity between all 6 regions. Great question, Brandon. So obviously, our organization starts with the team. We have 10 former CEOs or founders. We have over 40 with master's degrees and 5 with PhDs. We have 6 veterans, and we do try to focus on trying to hire underrepresented populations to diversify and to give unique perspectives. We're able to do this with the private funding so that we can try to attract the type of talent that, to be frank and honest, that we don't think a state agency would be able to afford. And so being able to bring in this kind of private industry experience is one of the things that separates us, I think, from most other states in their economic development efforts. And then to kind of go in more of a deep dive, we have our private structure. So what is that? That gives us the agility to move quickly. It gives us the speed, and we're able to do things that are not necessarily in the public view, not because we don't want to be transparent, but for example, if we're working on a deal and someone has sensitive information that they don't want a public records request, we're able to keep that confidential. Next is stable funding. Again, we don't take any tax dollars. This is not public dollars that we take. We take the profits from the liquor sales that we bought. And we focus on deal making versus fundraising. And our big thing is being able to have long-term strategic goals in terms of how we want to develop the state, since we're not having to worry about where our next dollar comes from each budget cycle. And then lastly is statewide coverage, as I had talked about. We don't just focus on one area, but we take an entire state approach. But we focus on having deep relationships with our regional partners so that they're able to talk to people on the ground, because we know all things are local. Working with Beaver Creek, obviously, we want to have the DDC involved with Beaver Creek. We want to have the DDC involved with all the local municipalities and towns, because they really know those people. Those are their friends and neighbors. So it would be arrogant of us to only, if it was just Jobs Ohio, going out into these communities if we didn't have the kind of partnership that we have with DDC. So what have we done? Since 2011, and I'm proud to say we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, we've done $1.2 billion in programs invested. We've had over 2,800 projects, and we've created over 210,000 new jobs. And we've done $64 billion expenditures and created $10 billion in new payroll that goes back into helping provide support for Ohioans. Okay, so then everything was going great, right, guys, in 2019, and then COVID happened. No one could have predicted this, not in our wildest dreams, when we were trying to prepare ourselves for the next, if there was ever going to be an economic downturn. I'll never forget in 1 month, we had gone from, historically low unemployment to almost depression era. It just was breathtaking to see how quickly things changed on the ground, and we had to act. And we're grateful that we were able to do that. And when Governor DeWine asked us to be bold, we took him at his word, and we did that. We created 10 new initiatives with over $250 million in initiatives. We got ourselves involved with the PPE procurement because we were able to move so quickly that the government just wasn't at the time. I don't know if you're aware, but it was very hard to get hold of a lot of the PPE equipment because it was overseas, and all the states were competing for it. And it was very hard. At times, I remember I was involved in one situation where I had 24 hours. They said, either take it, either buy it at this rate, or we're going to go on to the next state. So we had to be able to make very quick decisions. And having the type of industry know-how, we had folks that worked at Cardinal Health, we've had folks that worked in supply and logistics and had those international ties. We were able to disseminate whether or not a deal was ripping us off or not, whether we could, find the best quality for the people of Ohio. And so with that, we were able to allocate 47 million pieces of PPE and allocate up to $250 million. And again, we had the funds available because of the liquor profits, and that we were able to spend it quickly, to get it quickly, because we didn't have any strings attached necessarily in terms of bureaucracy. With that, we were able to impact 300,000 jobs and over 15,000 businesses. We're very, very proud of that. We're very proud of the partnership that we were able to have with our local partners and the DeWine administration. And it was a proof of concept, guys. It was a proof of concept that if an economic downturn happened, what would we be able to do? And so we were very proud that we were able to step in and help triage it first. And then we were able to help with reopening the state. And now we're talking about how do we empower the state and move forward in recovery. So here was our 2020 results. Somewhat shocking, I think. We couldn't believe it, but even in spite of the pandemic, we had our second best year for projects. We created 19,000 jobs. We did over $1 billion in payroll, and we had our third best year ever in capital expenditures. Really, it was a unique team effort. I think it was one of those things where everyone was so focused on the mission and how critical everything was that even with all the different obstacles in our path, we were still able to get projects done. And I will tell you, between us, our pipeline for 2021 is it could be a record year this year if things just stay or get a little better. we could have an incredible year for the state. So this talks about the future, right? Where are we going? What do we want to do? As I was talking about the unemployment before, it was at a record, 16.4%. Just to give you, the Great Depression was at 25%. The Great Recession was at 11, 12%. Now we're almost back down to where we were beforehand. We're at 5%. We have, ways to go, but it's much better, obviously, than where it was. Our return, because of the response that the DeWine administration and our business community and folks like you, we were able to have a faster return than most states. And so that's also helped generate more business. And with that, we've had record new business filings to date. So the ecosystem has certainly been able to survive the punch, and we're starting to emerge stronger and possibly stronger than before. So we just won for the second year in a row the Governor's Cup, which is through Site Selection Magazine. And really that's about the most projects per capita for the state in population density. So we got that 2 years in a row, and that just shows again that we're on the right path. On the bottom here, if you see something, the 86 score for a net promoter score, that's really how our clients rate us. Basically, it's were you satisfied with how Jobs Ohio, worked with you? And we got a very high score from them overall. So we take it serious when we have a project, when we have a company, we want to do what's right. And we're starting to see the fruits of that hard labor. Here are some of the other fruits of the hard labor. As I designated about the Governor's Cup, there's nationally we've been able to stay in the top 10, and we've been able to slowly inch our way up. Obviously, our goal is to be number one. And if you look across the board here, we're top 10 in many different categories. And our towns are doing great. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Elyria, Columbus, Dayton, for the projects that was created in the region. We're very excited about how diverse in terms of our projects are around the state. And so we're very optimistic that we'll continue to rise in our rankings. So as I said earlier, we have a generational opportunity for Ohio. Whether you agree 100% or not at all regarding Governor DeWine's response to the COVID response, it did generate a lot of good positive PR, which put a lot of focus on the state. And we're going to take advantage of that. One of the things that we're focusing on is going after some of these other cities and states that are, suffering because they have high tax rates because of the general response to the pandemic. And we are actively going after showing them through marketing campaigns that we've created why Ohio is just a better place to live and work. And so that's something that we're actively going after, especially New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle. I don't know, you might have seen a couple articles. We have the billboards that have been up around in some of those downtown areas, kind of a cheeky, talking about how, your buildings are taller, but our taxes are smaller. We did that right in Times Square in New York. And so our priorities for helping to empower the state and moving forward is to focus on Ohio businesses first. Obviously, we want to take care of the businesses and communities that are here. We want to help get Ohioans back to work. Before COVID, it was a challenge to try to get folks into jobs. There were plenty of jobs available, and it was a workforce development issue. I know, Rick, that was something I'm sure the General Assembly, when you were there, that's a continually hot topic, and I'm sure even for you now in your role too. How do we get the available jobs filled? Well, then it flipped on its head, was that we had this huge unemployment barrier. And so it was, how do we get people back to work? And so we had a pilot program called Ohio to Work that we did in Cuyahoga County, where we were matching people that were out of work or looking for a new job and career with potential employers. So that's something that we're trying to expand statewide. And then we want to diversify and invest. And what does that mean? We wanted to focus on more sites. We've launched several innovation districts to help with attracting startup companies, but also to help increase our STEM degrees, which Ohio needs to absolutely make sure it's doing its fair share of, so that we're attracting the kind of companies and the future employers and jobs that are going to be impactful for the next 10 to 20 years. And then we want to make sure we're being inclusive of all communities. We're proud that we were wanting to do more diversity and engagement in 2019, but it's something obviously that took a an even bigger role since last summer. And it's something that we want to make sure that we're lifting all ships across the state. And then again, we're focusing on reshoring and trying to bring businesses and companies from the coasts, but we're also interested in trying to bring investment from overseas. So we're making strong pitches about, well, you know, if it was being manufactured in China, maybe we can try to do that here. So that's something that from a, you know, national security standpoint, but also economically, we're going after companies to see if they can come to Ohio, and we want to be a leader in that. Just because I don't know about you, I don't ever want to have to go and rely on another foreign, you know, country making our PPE. So that's something that we're trying to do here in the state of Ohio. And that's kind of, you know, a very quick, brief summary, guys. I know I could go into, I'm sure, each of those things a lot more in granularity, but I wanted to at least let you know that we're very focused on not just surviving COVID, but winning it. And I know that's through JP's leadership and working closely with friends like, you know, the commissioner and Jeff at DDC, but we want to win. We're very motivated, and, you know, going into now our 10th year, we feel that the model has been proven as a private economic development entity, but we always have things that we can learn from. And certainly from this group, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, and I'm always available if you need anything. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Phil. I have a couple of quick questions. Number one, can you give us an example of some of the projects that you've done? And number two, you might have touched on this, but are there other states modeling after what you guys are doing?
Good questions.
Great question. So some major projects that we've done offhand. So we just did one with Purina in Claremont County that I could just off the top of my head. So that's a major manufacturing plant for pet food. In Claremont County, I think it's going to provide 1,200 jobs. I could go and get you some of the specifics on that. We've helped fund companies like Cover My Meds that are major in Columbus. That is a major insurance company. Is there anything in a specific sector that you'd want me to try to focus on, Mike?
Hey, Phil, talk about the glass company right here and right
now.
Well,
Fuya, of course. Well, Fuya.
That was your first huge win.
Yeah, it was that's created thousands of jobs. Obviously, you guys are very familiar with Fuya. That was prior to my starting. I think it was in 2015 or 14 offhand, guys, but that created several thousand jobs, but that brought the Chinese auto glass manufacturer Fuya right to Ohio. And that's one that actually they had an expansion, I think right before COVID started, that they had an announcement they were expanding even more in their factory. So that's another good example. Yes, sir. And then regarding other states, so we are unique because it was we are not aware of any other governments that have been able to detach as a control state their liquor profits like we have. I think it was a unique time when it happened, and I think other states envy what we have, but to my knowledge, no other states have been able to replicate what we do.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I'm going to give you, this is a dumb one. Since you guys own all the liquor, how do I get Eagle Rare?
Only you, Aaron.
So, I don't know the answer to that, although I know, I know it comes through, it's interesting, our liquor, we have two, I don't think most people know this, but we actually have two warehouses where all the liquor for the state of Ohio goes through. There's one in suburban, just outside of Columbus and Groveport, and then there's one just outside of Akron, where literally all that liquor that comes in goes through one of those two warehouses.
Aaron needs the address.
Okay.
And you're gonna run that.
And I'll tell you, I can't. I will. If you guys remember the Raiders of the Lost Ark, that last scene with all the boxes and it literally looks like that. I mean, it's just kind of the holy grail of liquor, as you can imagine. But I do recall seeing a separate locker within those warehouses that have, I think, some of the special, let's call them special liquors that you're referring to. But I don't know if I have the ability to tell you where or when. But maybe
it's only a $30 bottle. It's not even expensive stuff. You just can't buy it.
Let me ask, what was the name of the brand again, Eric? I can try to do some background.
Eagle Rare. It's
Eagle
like
Rare. Okay.
They get like 6 bottles at my liquor store every 6 months.
Okay, so maybe I can ask around and maybe I can find out where that stuff is. But I usually get at.
So Eric, I'm happy we can take care of you.
Don Adams has a bottle. He'll sell you one.
Do we have any other questions?
Economic development, Eric. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just asking if any other members have any questions for you.
You know, I would just say this, Rick Perales again. JP's from right here. He's in Oakwood, in military, like I said before. And there's no connection. He just got this job, and he's doing a killer job with it. And he's right here. And so if anyone needs to talk to him, Phil's a great resource. We can connect. Like I said, Terry used to run the airport here. Jobs Ohio is really connected right here in the Dayton, Miami Valley.
Bill, I was just going to share. My name is David Malk. I'm the Development Director at Habitat for Humanity of Greater Dayton. And I just want to share with you, we have an amazing partnership with Fuyao. You know, obviously relatively new to the community. We were able to establish a relationship with them, and they have sponsored two Habitat homes in the last couple of years, provided hundreds of volunteers to us. You know, this is a company mostly run by Chinese individuals. I mean, even they've brought their leadership, a lot of them from China. But, you know, just to kind of share maybe the trickle down effect that happens when new businesses come into our community, they not only help with jobs, but they help the nonprofit sector as well. And so we've been really grateful for the partnership that we've been able to establish with them. And they've been a really wonderful community citizen. So just wanted to say thanks for all the work you guys are doing, because as somebody who works in nonprofit leadership, you know, more jobs means more that we can do, and more great companies in the area means more partners that we can attract to our work and to help everybody. So just wanted to say thanks for your work, and that it you know, that partnership in particular has really meant a lot to us.
That's great, David. Thank you so much, and thank you for what you do.
All right. Any other questions for Phil? Got time for one more? Nope. All right, Phil, thank you again for being with us. If you look at Dave Cusack's background screen, we have a tradition in our club to dedicate a book to the library on your behalf. The book is called Maker Lab Outdoors. It's 25 super cool projects. So that's a book that will be donated to the Beaver Creek Library on your behalf. Next week, we will have Rick Dodds from Soin Medical Center, and he will be introduced by yours truly. And as a reminder, please keep an eye on upcoming programs at beavercreekrotary.com and Facebook. Anything else for the good of the club? All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and we'll see you right back here next week.
Nice job, Shannon.